Oh my god. So apparently, Google has released its AI Gemini like generation for its art. And apparently it's under a little bit of fire. Now, Google is notorious for failed projects for I guess whatever reason than to get grant money, right? Like before this, it was the metaverse, which nobody uses because there's absolutely no reason why you'd get the meta over, you know, the VR that Steam has. It's just an objectively better product. Then I believe it was like the Google eyeglasses, which allows like projects like a computer, and you can like type on your little virtual keyboard, and it fucking flopped because nobody really finds the need to do any of that shit. Right. Then it was their failed console. I can't even remember the name of it. It wasn't Stadia. No, it wasn't Stadia. It was something else. Right. So, lo and behold, they are notorious. Google's notorious for failed projects. But I think this is just yet another blip of the failure. But it's interesting, right? Because so many companies are getting into AI, and again, AI is trained on everything, and this is uh, pertinent to the story because it's trained on everything, right? It's trained on every image, every text, line of text, every reference, anything that hits the cyberspace, the AI knows and is trained on and has it in the database. The problem is the they censor the AI, they actively lobotomize it. So I used to use Chat GPT, but they slapped so many filters. They fucking blasted his neurons so where it's just effectively dumb. It takes objectively longer to get a prompt, and it does like two word dialogue, and it just did not do that until they slapped the filters and lobotomized the AI. But Gemini is under an interesting set of fire, and I don't believe this is representative of it. And let's just read the article. Generation AI has a history of amplifying racial and gender stereotypes, but Google apparent attempt to subvert that are causing problems too. I mean, it's doing this thing where let's just talk about the article. Google has apologized for what's described as inaccurate in some historical image generation depictions with the Gemini AI tool, saying its attempts to create a wide range of results missed the mark. The statement follows criticism that it depicts specific white figures like the U.S. founding fathers or groups like Nazi era German soldiers as people of color, possibly as an overcorrection to long standing racial bias problems in AI. And again, it's this idea that an inanimate object can be racist or have racial bias. And it's like, well, no. It's trained on images, and if you see the images of founding fathers, there's not many melanated brothers in those images, right? I mean, I know it makes you incapable of sleeping at night, but history rarely is fun and nice to people. I mean, I don't care one way or the other, but apparently they do, right? They care so much that they believe inanimate objects can have racial bias, like an AI. Again, that's trained off everything on the internet. And the problem is that you type in like Nazi era German soldiers, and all of them would be black, right? Like at one point, it literally did not generate the color white at all. Like not just white people, just the color white. Like you ask for it, the white colored like SUV. And it'd give you every single other color on the spectrum accept what the hell you fucking asked for. And seeing people just started memeing it, right? Because they would type in, you know, Nazi era captain, like army captains or generals, and it'll just be like an Asian woman with a sword screaming, and it's like, brother, what the fuck? That is not what I asked for. Or what I typed in like religiously persecuted Eastern European aristocrats in chains, and it was literally just black slaves. Like, again, the AI doesn't get this idiotic unless someone's actively walking in and lobotomizing it, and that's exactly what they were saying, right? They're saying, oh, the long-standing racial bias problems with AI. What the fuck do you mean problems? Like, are people like dying because the AI is again looking at everything that has ever hit the cyberspace, right? And these people being like, well, we can't have them saying that or showing that. Like, we need to go in and actively change it. And again, they've changed it so much that it just did not generate the color white. And again, people just fuck memeing on them. We're aware that Gemini is offering inaccuracies in some historical image generations depictions, says the Google statement, posted this afternoon on X. We're working on to improve these kinds of depictions immediately. Gemini AI image generation does generate a wide range of people, and it's generally a good thing because people around the world use it. But it's missing the mark here. Like, what do you mean is a good thing? I mean, it'd be good if you stopped lobotomizing it. Like, that'd be a good thing. Like, again, between completely free, completely unfiltered AI and this lobotomized trash, like, what do you think people are going to go for? I mean, it's the same thing with, I guess, the Twitter AI. What's his name? Grok. Like, again, Elon Musk tries to train Grok to be, the first free thinking AI, but again, it's trained off the internet and is missing the mark. And Grok is just an awkward AI. Like, it tries to speak to you like it's your uncle, and your hip uncle being like, yeah, cool, bro. Like, what are kids like? They like innuendos. Like, fuck yeah. But again, it is also lobotomized, not because he lobotomized it or his people lobotomized it. It's the internet, and the internet is very censored. Like, they try to train it like straight off of Google search history. I think just a Google search history, and again, Google's less of a information engine and more of a pitch engine nowadays. Google began offering image generation through the Gemini, formerly barred AI platform earlier this month, matching the offers of competitors like OpenAI. Over the past few days, however, social media posts have questioned whether it fails to produce historically accurate results in an attempt at racial and gender diversity. I mean, yeah, it's not the fact that these aren't what people. It's what people are trying to generate, which is the problem. Like, people are trying to generate historically accurate stuff. Like, again, the founding fathers, and they're being like, we can't have. We need to at least have one black guy, and there's like, why? Like, why is there a need to diversify like historical images? That just doesn't make any sense. I mean, they know the problem. You know the problem. Like, you know why that doesn't make any sense, and they also do. But they have to act like they don't. They have to act like, oh, diversity, gender inclusion, but they know why it's fucked up, and they know why people don't like it. As the Daily Dot chronicles, the controversy has been promoted largely through, not exclusively, by right-wing figures attacking a tech company that perceived as liberal. Earlier this week, a former Google employee posts on X that's embarrassingly hard to get Google Gemini to acknowledge that white people exist, showing a series of queries like generate a picture of a Swedish woman or generate a picture of an American woman. The results appear to overwhelmingly be excessively show AI generated people of color. Again, because they go in and they lobotomize the AI. If they would leave it alone, there wouldn't be an issue. But they don't. And people meme on them because of it. And it's like most situations with, like, I don't know, software. It's like you try to fix one thing and 5, 6, 7 other things break down, like, down the chain. That's why I was never into coding, right? I fucking hated coding and troubleshooting. Now, I passed troubleshooting, but it was the same idea. It's like you think one thing's a problem and you fix it, but you fucked up 3 other things, and that's what's happening here. Like, in their attempt to throw some diversity in there, which again doesn't make any sense if you just want to look at a picture of the founding fathers or a historically accurate picture of German soldiers. Like, why does there need to be diversity in the Nazis? Or, like, why does there need to be diversity in the KKK? Like, historically generating the KKK members? Like, what do you think people will say when you do that? It's just this idea that they act like they have to be people's parents in this situation. The criticism was taken up by right-wing accounts that again, right-wing accounts. What the fuck does that even mean? It's by the people using your AI. Like, people using, again, they're trying to paint this idea. I don't know if it's The Verge or Google, but they're trying to paint this idea that it's this. And literally anybody, like, everyone universally memes on Google, but they're trying to shove it in a narrow lens and shoot it at a political party. Like, come on, man. Like, that trend's been nerfed like 5 years ago. Like, can we stop? Can we act like adults? Everyone is memeing on it. The criticism was taken up by right-wing accounts that requested images of historical groups or figures like the founding father and purportedly got overwhelmingly non-white AI-generated people as a result. Some of these accounts position Google's results as part of a conspiracy to avoid depicting white people, and at least one used a coded anti-Semitic reference to place the blame. Again, they're slapping literally everything at the wall here. They're throwing everything at the wall, trying to shove it in one political direction. I mean, if they do this, people should universally just spit on them. It's like, again, we've been through this. You don't have to act like people are actually falling for this. Everyone is shitting on their AI because it's Google. And of course, right-wingers or, non-SJWs are going to shit on it because you're handing them material here. They could just not lobotomize the AI, but they choose to do this. Google didn't reference specific images that it felt were errors. In a statement to The Verge, it reiterated the contents of its posts on X, but it's plausible that Gemini has made an overall attempt to boost diversity because of a chronic lack of it in generative AI. The AI doesn't even really know what the fuck this means, like diversity. This is an American term that has changed context throughout the years. Like, it's not the AI doing this, it is people making the AI do this. And again, this I'm assuming there it is right here, bruh. And see, they have the swastika. Well, I don't think that's the swastika. That looks like the World War One Germans that totally weren't Nazis, but that does. But yeah, this is exactly what people are seeing and memeing on. And again, they want to act like, oh, well, the AI is just doing it on its own. It's like, no, your people are making this happen. Like, people know what the AI. It's not anything people just don't understand. Image generators are trained on large corpuses of pictures and written captions to produce the best fit for a given prompt, which means they are often prone to amplify stereotypes. A Washington Post investigation last year found that prompts like a productive person results in pictures of entirely white and almost entirely male figures, while a prompt for a person of a oh fuck a person at social services uniformly produced what looked like people of color. Is a continuation of trends that have appeared in search engines and other software systems. Again, it's just looking at the internet, looking at pictures at the internet, which is kind of a basis of reality. Unfortunately, it's a basis of reality, but it's trying. Again, the AI is just gonna generalize. Like, it's not gonna hit specifics, and this is why I believe artists are objectively better than AI. I mean, artists that are actually worth their salt and not those that work for like a corporation like Marvel. Now, unfortunately, there's probably some good artists there. It's just they're not allowed to flourish because they work for a soul crushing corporation. But artists, again, will always just be better than an AI. Because, again, the AI just generalizes. It's not trying to fight gender stereotypes. It's not trying to amplify diversity. It doesn't do these things unless someone prods his brain to do so, prods the hardware, prods the code to do so. Some of the accounts that criticize Google defended its core goals. It's a good thing to portray diversity in certain cases. And like modern day American schools, sure. The one person who posted the image of racially diverse 1940s German soldiers. The stupid move here is Gemini isn't doing it in a nuanced way. And while entirely white dominated results for something like a 1943 German soldier would make historical sense, that's much less true for prompts like an American woman, where the question is how to represent a diverse real life group in a small batch of made up portraits. I mean, sure, but I mean, again, the problem is they are actively changing the AI, and if you actively, again, they try to change one line of code, and they fuck up all the lines of codes down the line. If this is something they want, fine, but please don't try to shove this in one direction. Again, I don't know if it's The Verge doing it or Google. It's probably both. I guess these are fine. I don't know. Just some diverse U.S. senators, yeah. For now, Gemini appears to be simply refusing some image generation tasks. It wouldn't generate an image of Vikings for one Verge reporter, although I was able to get a response on desktop. It resolutely refused to give me an image of German soldiers or official from Germany's Nazi period, or to offer an image of an American president from the 1800s. Yeah, because they are legitimately just slapping filters on it. But some historical requests still do end up factually misrepresenting the past. A colleague was able to get the mobile app to deliver a version of the German soldier's prompt, which exhibits the same issues described on X. And while query for pictures of the founding fathers return group shots of almost exclusively white men who vaguely resembles real figures like Thomas Jefferson, a request for a U.S. senator from the 1800s returns a list of results Gemini promoted as diverse, including what appears to be black and Native American women. The first female senator, a woman, served in 1922. It's a response that ends up erasing a real history of race and gender discrimination. Inaccuracy, as Google puts it, is about right. Yeah, let's check again. I think it's ridiculous that, again, AI is one of the few legitimately good inventions that came out in the past. Now you have this like moral panic that if you're just one dude in your basement and you use AI, you're a theft. But multi-billion-dollar companies can use AI and it's a-okay. Like you even get accounts of like Marvel comic book writers absolutely using AI to write their comics, and you wonder why they're actually even working there. It's like, what do you even do at Marvel? Taking a drink. But let's look at the comments. I wish AI would stay where it should be, doing things humans don't want to do. Art is one of the few things people love and do for the love of it. AI should never have been made to create media. It should be used to fix problems. The whole idea is rotten from the core with greed right now. Again, AI can, do all of these. I mean, it's just a tool, right? And a tool can be equally good or bad depending on how the user makes it. Like, if our artist wants to use AI as reference material, I don't see that why that's bad or how that's greedy. That's just, again, someone who needs right. If an absolute nobody wants to use AI to create art and it ends up becoming a legitimately good thing and a good game from it comes out of it, again, I fail to see why that's the issue. It's just the ever advancement of technology. I think people should adapt, maybe even use it as a tool in the toolbox, then just rage against it. Like any other type of new technology, you have these people who just have to go against it, and they're overwhelmingly conservative people, which is unfortunate, but it's true to say. Well, it's all made up of garbage from an electricity hogging, garbage generating BS machine trained on stealing content. Surprised? Funny that the modern Nazis are all in a Twitter about it on Twitter. They don't have anything better to do. I mean, again, people are just memeing on it. I don't know what you mean by the modern Nazis like that. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? But again, people are just shitting on AI, and it's odd how, again, the whole AI steals art. Like, artists takes inspirations from all sorts of things, and you wouldn't consider it stealing per se if an artist takes inspiration from, say, another artist or another piece. So I don't know why AI falls in this completely different category. Now, I understand the AI isn't a human being, but again, it's a tool. And, the tool itself can't craft or it can't destroy. It requires, the human element to do so. And again, if the human chooses to use the AI art as inspiration, instead of dumping 4 years of his life, 4, 5, 6 grand down the toilet to get a college degree in art. And again, even if I was to do that, I suck at drawing shit. Like, that wouldn't help me one way or the other. But if I want to use AI art to actually make a product and use said images in my game. Again, AI just sits sort of in this gray area where no one really owns it. But again, using AI art as reference, I don't see it being a bad thing. It's like, what do you want? What do you do if you want like an artist to commission a piece of art for you? Well, you give them, multiple images and be like, oh, I want something that looks like this, but then also looks like this, but looks a little bit like this. I mean, it's what you do, right? Or you could just type all of that in an art image generator, give it to the artist, be like, yeah, make something like that, only I want this slightly changed, and this slightly changed. Like, again, I fail to see where the issue is there. I agree that Google can improve, but it isn't. But isn't it also user error to expect historical accuracy from artificially generated images? Well, again, no, because it's trained on everything. It's trained off every image that has ever hit the cyberspace. It's trained off every prompt that goes relevant to that image, right? You can literally turn text into image. It's just that good. And again, it would do this accurately if, again, it wasn't being currently lobotomized. Hallucinating AI bot. What a fucking name. It's fair for a user to point out how silly some of these images are. It's not a huge deal, to your point, but it shows failures in the Gemini safety stack. I don't know what the fuck all that is. Again, it shows the failure on, the coders trying to hamper it. The Nazi technically did have some diversity. There were Arabs and other Middle Eastern. I don't care for all this. Again, the diversity, what he could be 100% correct, but that's not what people are looking for. It's not what people look for when they say type in a historically accurate Nazi Germany battalion. They're not looking for this tiny esoteric division that may have existed but is negligible. They're just looking for the general idea. Yeah, and again, there are also Japanese that will, yes, but this is not what people are looking for. I mean, if they are, they can type it in, right? But it's not. I mean, again, they're just using a single line of text. So, if they're just using a single line of text, then it should be as general as possible. If they want to, text all of this in there, then it should do its best to portray that. People are getting whipped up into a culture war frenzy that is hugely profitable for corporations who own algorithms. Corporations equal capital. They will not do anything that threatens their epistemically conservative maximizing of profit. My dude's using 1,000 fucking syllables just to make a single, whatever. Yeah. The polarization of society, both sides are polarized. Again, we can talk about all of this. I mean, again, my argument about all that is, like, they train people to think this way, right? And then when people throw this back in their face, they're like, oh, he's using the word woke, but what does he mean? It's like, no, I think you know exactly what he means. You're just being disingenuous. Like, you train people to think this way. So when people do come at you this way, and you go Pikachu face, it's like, okay, now I see what's happening. But, anyway, don't see why they have to, well, I do see why they have to censor the AI. At first, it was copyright, right? Just so the mouse doesn't slap them. Politicians don't slap them, but now it's just them fucking with code just because they believe they can. But and acting like they're your betters, which boggles my fucking mind. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about that. Peace.